You're listening to Modern Male Radio with Jerod Zavistoski and Sydney Hall, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Should always do that. What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Jerod Zavistoski, and you're listening to Modern Male Radio. This is all the stuff your mama should have told you and the shit your daddy never knew. And as always, my co-host, Sydney Hall.
What's up? This is Sydney Hall on Modern Male Radio. What's up, party people out in the lands? Well, I have to stop before we go any further.
Yes.
This is a glorious day for me and my family. It's my parents' 50th wedding anniversary today, January 8th.
Woo!
Edric and Sonia Hall of Hartford, Connecticut. Not born and raised in Springfield, Massachusetts. Mother to 8 children.
Wow.
Let's get these names right. Allison, Jason, Adrika, Alexander, Joshua, myself, Sydney, Solomon, and Gwendolyn. Grandparents to 12 grandchildren. Jordan, Alana, Jason Jr., Austin, Brandon, Justin, Lauren, Addison, Joshua Jr., Jonathan, Kennedy, and Kyrie.
Damn, your family just been fucking.
Happy anniversary.
Any great-grandkids?
My parents might be listening, bro. Like, there wasn't that much TV
I
back
think they
then.
knew what was going on.
Right, exactly.
Yo, fair enough.
So just want to give a big shout out to my parents, my lovely parents and my family. Happy 50th. Love you guys to death. Me and my siblings sent them to, and let me not forget the sisters-in-law. We have Temsia. We have Nakia, and we have Becky. So those are definitely parts of the family. And we have, my man, Mr. Thames, who is a brother-in-law. So
to the halls.
Right on.
to the halls, and we sent them to Vegas.
Love
So
it.
they're partying up in Vegas.
They're in Vegas right now.
They're in Vegas right now.
Oh,
Figured
I
they
hope
earned
they're
it.
winning and having some fun.
Hopefully they're winning a lot. Hopefully the stars are aligning and
Yeah, no, that
Definitely.
and they're
That
would
bringing
be the
down the
time.
roof and bringing down the roof in Vegas. But
Exactly.
happy anniversary to my parents, to my family. God bless and Godspeed. Yeah.
Love it.
Awesome. And I would like to introduce our next guest, this lovely lady to my right here. This is special guest, author, host, and columnist at Viva Glam magazine, Anicia Bragg.
Hi.
Anicia, what's up? How you
Thank you for
doing?
coming.
Hey, good. It's good to be here.
Good to
Living
have
large
you.
with Anicia.
Yeah. Well, now we are
Right on.
living
For
large
those of
and
you that
beautiful.
don't know, Anicia teaches people how to live a lifestyle worth bragging about. And
That's
Okay.
I think that's amazing. So we're before I forget, it's day 8 of the Inner Gym Challenge.
Yes, it is.
And if you haven't been doing that, you can go to www.innergym.com and you can follow the meditation thing. And
I've been having some crazy experiences.
it's been good.
I mean, crazy good, but just like wow, it's
Yeah.
really like a wow.
Yeah, it I wouldn't have thought that it could be as good or as moving as it's been.
Right.
It's made a very, very in 10 minutes a day has made a
Well, my brother
dramatic-
Alexander, he's been into meditation for a long time, and he kind of not warned me, but told me a little bit about it. But I was like, it's one thing for someone to tell you about something, and then
Yeah.
obviously another thing to experience it.
Yeah, I never understood it either.
What did you experience that was so different?
You really you feel
Different.
every inch of your being.
Right.
And the funny enough,
Yeah.
so I get up real early and I do my meditation, and I do I'm gonna.
Do you sit in like the yoga pose? And
No,
everything?
I kind of just sit up with my back to my pedestal.
Okay.
On my bed, and but I do also a cleanse after I do that, and then I take a nap.
Okay.
So the weirdest thing and it's like a lemon cleanse. So I drink like 1.5 liters to 2 liters of water straight.
That's great.
So obviously, I take a nap after that. So, peeing is involved. So ever since I've been doing this, I've had these dreams, you know what I'm saying? Like these vivid dreams of water flowing from everywhere. And I wake up and I have to go to the bathroom profusely. That's what actually wakes me up. It's literally like I'm drowning.
Wow.
Like water, like I had one dream where I was drowning. And I woke up and I probably was just about to pee the bed.
I bet.
like because all the water was like pressing out.
Well, we
out
still
of my
have
body.
30 more days, or what is it? We still have about 20 more days of this challenge.
22
so
more days.
Look forward to Sydney pissing the bed.
Yeah.
At some point. I'm sure this
Yeah.
is going to happen.
No, it's not gonna happen because I'm in tune with myself and and my mind is working and it warns me of everything before it happens. So
Your higher power and intuitiveness
the higher
is talking
being, that's
to you.
right, that's
I
right.
love it.
So, Anicia, and this whole meditation thing got me thinking, and it's funny because Sydney made a funny joke about that earlier. Because you literally sit there and you think about things,
Right.
and let your mind wander. And I was trying to figure out what we were going to focus on because you've got so many different facets.
Thank you.
There are so many different parts of you.
I'll take it as a compliment.
Yeah, definitely.
Jack of many trades.
We
Jack
could
of
fill
many
a whole
trades.
show with what you've got going on.
Thank you.
But
You're not Jamaican, are you?
No, not tonight.
I
I
have
left the
many
Patron
job,
at home.
man.
No, I left the
I'm
Patron
the
at
cook, the
home.
cleaner, the waitress, the bartender.
Yeah, just the good jobs. I really try and focus on making this a dating show. Giving guys something that they can pull from. And besides bringing you on the show and letting all of our male followers, stare at you and oogle you, which is awesome. They get a pretty girl. You went for being
A gorgeous girl.
yeah,
Thank
A gorgeous
you.
woman. A gorgeous
girl.
woman.
Thank
A
you.
gorgeous woman.
Thank you.
My bad.
Thank you.
So you went from being a small town Southern girl to a self-made millionaire,
Hills of Tennessee.
and you're
Yeah,
killing it right
Knoxville.
now.
Hi, Knoxville.
So what I wanted to
Knoxville.
do was maybe apply that same mindset that you went from being a self-made millionaire, or you went from being basically a poor Southern girl to a millionaire. What did you have to do when you started working for Eastman Kodak?
Oh gosh. Well, let's go back.
Yeah,
Let's
okay.
do a little
Let's-
backstory, okay?
Let's start from the
So,
beginning.
here I am, this teenage girl growing up reading too many cosmopolitan magazines.
Okay.
My mom wanted me to read. Little did she know, it would make me dream all these big dreams. So, I was going through the pages of all these cool magazines and all travel and beautiful fashion. And, it inspired me at a young age. And I was like, wow, I want a life like that. I want to travel the world. I want to go to Europe. And
Who doesn't?
I want to drive
Yeah.
a fancy car, and I want a big house, and I want a wardrobe like that. So I started dreaming very young, and then I was lucky, and I started working for the local television stations, and I was doing commercials from like 8 years old.
Okay.
So I did, I had a little taste of everything, and then
But it started with the desire.
started with the desire in me. Like I knew I wanted it.
Started
I
with
thought about
Cosmopolitan
it,
magazine.
and ripping out pages, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm a kid.
So what was it like? Yeah, it was like the analog version of Pinterest.
Yeah, back then,
Right,
I'm
back
like a
then,
young
yeah.
girl, and I'm tearing all these
Exactly.
pictures of, grown-up stuff, and I'm plastering them all over my wall.
Those are called vision boards.
Yeah, little did I know that, right?
Exactly.
I was visioning it then,
So
and I made it happen.
with a lot of guys, I feel like because I've been on the internet and I've been seeing a lot of stuff in these dating communities, and these guys are becoming very, very hateful towards women. They're like, this girl's not paying attention to me or whatever, and they're posting all this stuff, and it's very, it's from these guys that are trying but they're failing constantly. And I want to, if I can, impress upon people that getting a girl is just like getting a goal. Anything in life, if you wanted to accomplish something, or you wanted, to expand your experience level and become a better person, a person that's capable of getting the kind of girl that you want, in your professional life, there were skill sets, there were things that you had to do. You say it was luck, but realistically, you were already making your vision boards. You knew where you wanted to go. You were feeling good about it from an early age.
Manifesting the opportunity.
Well, Jared, let's go back a little bit before.
Okay.
Before you actually can even get to a goal, you have to get to yourself first. And I like the fact that you have this child experience because you started off very young.
Yes.
Knowing and molding into yourself into what you know about yourself first.
Definitely.
And that's, and I think that's where it starts. It's about you. And you have guys pointing fingers at this, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Everything is going all outward and not inward to themselves and trying to fix themselves before they go and try to get a goal or,
Exactly.
attain something.
Yeah.
So
sure.
really, I think the main, a very important point we have to stress on is thyself.
The grounding.
What is it about
Right.
yourself that is causing these obstacles and things in your way? Because you only get in your way. No one gets in your way. You get in your own way.
Right.
Yeah. No,
Like
fair
they
enough.
want the girl, but they don't even have the job that they can take her to dinner. Like there's
Right.
steps of yourself that you have to find and get yourself there
Mm-hmm.
before you're ready for that relationship.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, the 21st
Exactly.
century has got a lot of guys so lazy and apathetic that they don't think that
Everyone's
they actually have
lazy.
to take
Yeah.
girls to, it's like they don't think they have to take a girl out, and it's like, what?
But
Like,
hey, we still like flowers and cards and all those romantic things. All the girls out there, 20 to 50, I can speak for every one of them.
Exactly.
I know they would
it's
appreciate
a two-way,
that.
It's a two-way
Yeah.
street.
Right.
Females are not demanding it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, there has to
Right.
be a demand also.
Right.
that is true. And, I've met females like that where they'll kind of like Tina was talking about this. She's like, Jerod, I will stand outside the car and I will cross my arms and make sure that guy knows that I want that door opened.
Right.
And there does need to be some training in there where women have to suggest, and hint at this stuff.
Not
Because-
even
I think
hint.
that's true. I can sit in the car if he
They don't even
doesn't
have
come
to
around
hint.
and-
It's what you want. Well, I'm like, everyone has their self-value that they place on themselves.
Yeah. Right.
And with that comes your action. So if you value yourself, to a certain degree, not as high, then those will be your actions. If you value yourself very high,
Yeah.
then those will be your actions. So you really have to reflect on that.
So
How
there
do you
is
value
some
yourself?
responsibility that women need to.
There's responsibility on both sides.
Yeah, but I think it goes back. I mean, your parents are a perfect example. I'm from Tennessee, so everybody's married for 50 years
Mm-hmm. Right,
or 60
exactly.
years. But, we live in Southern California where a lot of people don't even get married, so you don't see longevity
people are
in
always
marriages.
amazed,
Or,
like, wow,
I'll
your
get
parents are still
married and I
married?
can just get a divorce if it doesn't work out. No big deal next. You know what I mean? We see 3, 4, 5
Mm-hmm.
marriages here.
Yeah.
It's really prevalent. But it goes back to what do we learn as children? What were the staples of relationships and
Right.
how did we interact and how did the parents interact? And what about the grandparents? You know what I mean? So
It's family. It's how,
it is family.
It goes back to family.
And what about, the girls and guys that don't grow up and they don't have that? They don't see the good foundation in their parents or their
Well, that's why we're
grandparents.
here.
Yeah.
We're here to
Tell you what you
we're
need
here
to
to
be doing.
re-educate it. And there's nothing.
Right?
And the thing about it is, there's nothing wrong with that. Because I never go out and give advice and kind of preach and point fingers.
See, I do.
Because their experience is not my experience.
That's
Everyone is born into this world on a different level with
Definitely.
different experiences, and I can't really say, "Oh, you're supposed to think like me."
Right. We're
You
all
know,
work in progress.
Yeah, exactly. We're all work in progress. You can't think like me because you're not me.
Exactly.
So I can't really pass that judgment on anyone. I just take where they are,
Yep.
and as long as you're willing to move forward from where you are,
Yeah, well,
then
that's the
what
biggest
it
thing.
is. That's
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing.
You have to be willing
You have to be
to
willing.
move
Now, if you're
Willing.
not,
forward.
if you're not,
Willing.
and you're stuck, then I may have something to say.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Then I may pass the judgment on you. You're just stuck.
And you know how many people I see and they're like their leg is stuck in a ditch and they're like, oh, my leg is stuck in a ditch. Oh, I can't move it. It's like, just pull the fucking thing out. They're like, no, look at the ditch. It sucks. It's like
Right.
God, you're just drowning in self-pity. And it's like it's like when people complain about their weight. And they're like, oh my God, I'm so fat. I'm so out of shape. And it's like, go to the gym. And they're like, well, you don't understand. And this is why I can't. And it's like, go to the fucking gym.
I don't have time to go to the gym.
Well, you
know-
It's
Yeah.
excuses. It's excuses.
and also, people don't.
Self-sabotage.
Yeah, self-sabotage. And people don't understand that you're going to take hits in life. You're not going to avoid those. So
Yeah.
don't break down. Don't, don't fall on the ground and not wanting to get up. Hey, it happens to everyone.
And some
take
people's-
take your
Yeah.
hit, get up and keep going.
Yeah.
And a lot
No
of
big
time,
deal.
people's hits come earlier in life. Like, I've kind of seen a trend with people that aren't as attractive. They don't feel like they're attractive, so they use food as a comfort thing, and then they become fat and unattractive.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, they just sit there and they're like, well, my life is over before it's begun. You see these people and they're 15, 16 years old and they're morbidly obese, and you're going, why?
Yeah.
And I'm
Every
sorry.
day you wake up alive is the first day of the rest of your life.
Looks
I love
are
that.
not that
That's right.
important, and
True that.
I think that it's really important to stress that looks are not as important as how you treat yourself,
Or how you
feel
view
about-
yourself.
how you feel about yourself, how you're pushing yourself out. I've met girls that were not very attractive at all, but because of the way they held themselves and they had that little
Yep.
thing, and,
Yep.
and there was just that light and that love for life.
And to your point, Jerod, I've woken up many times and not felt great, having a bad day, and I look in the mirror and I don't look as great as I do. No, just but I do. I what I'm saying, that reflects how I view myself.
Right.
So with the attitude of
You're not alone,
of-
Sydney, all
with
the time.
with this attitude of love, joy, and I am the being that, you know what I'm saying, that is on this earth and rocking, you know, that view will come. That, you know, that will shine. You know, what you think about yourself inside shines out on the outside.
Exactly. And how do you feel about that, Anicia?
You know what? I have those mornings too, and you know what I do? Grab my tube of red lipstick and write, I love you, you're beautiful, right on that mirror. And every time I go to the bathroom, I look at it and I say it, affirmation.
Did you ever, did anybody ever
Affirmation is very
teach you
important.
the affirmations, or was that just something that came naturally to you?
It's just something that came naturally to me. And
Yeah,
then,
I think
of
'cause you
course,
started-
I did,
yeah,
the older
after-
I got,
yeah,
I
yeah,
did
exactly.
started reading about it and studied about it. And, you know, I believe in all those, the book, The Secret, and, you know, I think that's powerful stuff. It's in the mind. You know, it starts within
Everything
inside
is.
of us. That power,
Yeah.
you know, that desire,
The
that
sun,
feeling
the sun,
good.
yeah, the sun you
Gotta
harness inside, the
throw
core,
those
your
negative
core is the
things out.
sun.
No matter how much
And
advice
those
I
are the
try
rays
and
you shine out how powerful your sun is inside.
no matter how much advice I
Absolutely.
try and give people, I, you know, it always kind of comes back to that. And I'm like, look, there are two methods. You can sit there and you can try and control it, and you can learn all of these different tactics and stuff, or you can kind of like base yourself here and you start feeling good about stuff. And you can do both at the same time, which will fast track you. You know, it's like you can't manifest weight loss, but if you're manifesting,
But you're supposed to think you're thin. I am thin.
Exactly.
I am thin. No matter if you're not, you're supposed to think it.
yeah. So,
Because
so-
if
and
you
then-
think no, you're so right. Because if you put that in your brain, then your actions, you're like, oh, I am thin, and you'll automatically start doing things that actually make
Exactly.
you thin.
That's right.
Exactly.
Because you won't have the fat thought anymore. The fat thought is I want to eat all the time. You know, I
Absolutely.
want to snack all the time. The skinny thought is, the thin thought is I
gotta
don't want to
do
do
it.
that.
fuck
You gotta
those
do
Cheetos.
it. Yeah.
I don't want them. You know?
Yeah.
Because that's not how thin people think. I don't want them all the time.
That's right.
So tell us about Eastman Kodak. Tell us about where you, you know, kind of the beginning and where you are now with.
Eastman Kodak was my kind of get out of jail ticket, claim to fame.
Okay.
And that's what led me to New York City. I had a contract as a spokesmodel for them, which was amazing. I'm 19 years old. You know, here I am, this little Southern country girl. With
I don't
an
want to ask what
accent.
years, but I'm like, for some strange reason, I think I was in New York while you were in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, when I saw you, I was like, you look so familiar and
Wow.
sound familiar.
I did
Yeah.
a lot. I was very lucky. I moved in with my agent's family, Charlie Ryan, who's an old timer there. They took me in and took care of me. And I lived in Queens and Forest Hills, and they kind of showed me the ropes. And I fulfilled my contract for 2 years. And it was hard. You know, I had an accent, so to do commercial
Right,
work,
yeah.
you know, the
They want
first
that
thing they did
want
was
that just neutral American accent.
yeah, I mean, they you know, set goals, and I had to learn things. I had to go to, you know,
Yeah, to
work
learn a
with
whole
their
nother language.
ballerina- Yeah, I had to go work with a dialect coach, drop the
yeah.
accent, no more hey, y'all, or, and all those good things us country girls like
That's
to
right.
say. So, you know, I had to drop the accent, you know, to have a no accent to audition, and then I had to take acting classes. And
had to put
at
in the work.
Herbert Bergdorf,
You had to
with
put in the
well-known,
work.
with well-known, so I could get it on my resume, get out there, start meeting people, and you know, do the whole New York thing to break into the industry. So even though I had this contract, you know, there were specific things that I had to do to really own it.
Yeah, and I mean that's
New
that's
headshots.
That's a
and
skill
just
set. Yeah.
everything. Yes.
So and with all that training and stuff, it's funny because I think that a lot of people feel like fame is just something that happens to people. They're like, oh, that person's famous, and it's like, you know, I was thinking about this today with the word lucky break, and it's like it's called a break because you were working your ass off and somebody gave you a break,
Right.
but it's not called a break because somebody walked up and just fucking
Someone gave you a break. Well, I say luck is when
That's true.
preparation meets opportunity. Well, that's
I
actually,
love that
that's
one.
actually one of the gifts my father has given to me. He always used to say that to
okay.
me. You know.
Yeah, I like that
And,
one too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I'm
and it's crazy because like I've been studying this more and more and more, and I see that, you know, I see the mindset that people are like, oh, well, that person's famous, and it's like you have no idea what went into that, what they had to work on to get there,
Right.
and I'm noticing the
Well,
correlation.
you need those people too. You need fans, man. Without fans, the fans is no fame, right?
Yeah, but I mean, there's rarely
And what do
that
fans do?
there's rarely that glimpse inside.
Fans cool you off. Fans keep you cool,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
I need my fans to fan on me to keep me cool.
No, fair enough.
Everybody
that,
can't be
fans.
famous now. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. No, but I mean, like the mindset is you know, it's something you can transition, and I feel like that's so important to stress to people because all I see in the world right now are people that are frustrated and angry,
Right.
and I'm going, and there's just so much hatred and they're they're pushing out
confusion.
This,
I would say
fair
confusion.
enough. Fair enough, confusion. But they're pushing all this stuff out, and it's like they don't even understand that no matter where you're going in life, it takes work.
It takes work.
There's got to be work. You got to put some work into that. And
what do they say? Any great business, anything that you're gonna do is gonna take what? What do they say? 10,000 hours.
10,000 hours, which works out to about 5 years.
5 to 7 years
at 8 hours a day.
That's right.
5 days a week. So like a full-time job, it's. But the interesting thing is, I'm pretty sure Malcolm Gladwell's theory on that was involving mostly athletes. So there's nothing saying that you couldn't get good after about a year if you were working, let's say, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you were not in athletics. So that was something that was quite interesting.
But people want the easy street, but you have to put the time in.
Yeah, and
you have to put the time in, whatever it is you want to do. You want to be a famous rock star. What do you got to do? You got to play till your fingers bleed. You got to learn how to play. You got to look at the competition and know you got to play lots of instruments, and you got to be able to write music.
It's like
what do you want to do? You have to know your skill, right?
And you have to put, like you said, you have to put in the work. It's like we live in a time of immediacy.
Yes.
Everybody wants something right now. They don't want to wait. They want. I used to read encyclopedias.
Did you really?
If I had to learn something, I used to have to go read an encyclopedia.
I love it.
I used to have to page through it and find it. Not just keyword, Google it, and everything pops up. So
I was right at that transitional phase. There was like I remember reading encyclopedias when I was all the way up into like high school, and then right around high school it was like, you've got mail. But I mean, you're right. There's so much like I want it now.
It's just the culture that we live in these days.
I've even been like that at one point in my life, and it was like there were times when I was like, why don't I have this now? Why don't I? And I was at that mindset, and now being at a completely different vibration and looking at other people like that, I'm like, oh shit, that's that other development. That's that starter phase. Right. And now that I've moved up to a different level, I'm going, oh, I have a responsibility to tell these people this is how I did it because I was right there once. And what if I had given up, and been like, well,
also another thing is like, if you get something too easy, you're probably going to flounder
right.
away.
And not appreciate
yeah.
it.
I was successful very early in life. And I didn't know. I didn't know how to take it. I got some really great breaks without even trying, just kind of showing up. And I didn't take care of it, and it went away. It went away very quick. And the things that I did work for, the things that I did take the time and putting into, they actually stayed and sustained.
Wow.
Are you talking about the clubs?
I'm like the clubs, just even in terms of my business, even my acting stuff. I'm like I got, I was a model. I went to an audition and became an underwear model just on a fluke. But that didn't stay away. The modeling didn't stay a long time. But once I focused on it, worked on it, then it started to bear the fruit that I thought it could.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to have that forward motion, that drive, that motivation. You got to want something because there are going to be roadblocks. There are going to be hurdles. There are going to be times when you're so frustrated you want to cry.
You want those, though.
Yeah.
Like, let me tell you something.
Those are what teach your mind how to work differently.
If you've never been hit in the face, guaranteed.
Yep.
If you get too old and you're hit in the face, you're probably gonna die. Right? You need that stimulus. That's how our bodies work. That's how our biology works. You need that stimulus.
I used to say that all the time. I'm
like don't be afraid to get hit. I'm sorry. I know this anti-bully and all that. And don't bully, but just don't be afraid to get hit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Don't be afraid to get knocked down.
You must have heard that from me because I used to say that all the time. That was like my slogan.
That's always been my slogan.
When we met, that was like, because I used to do amateur kickboxing.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing. I was like, look, the greatest skill you can ever learn your whole life is to not be afraid to get hit.
Right, true.
Yeah, I learned that growing up.
Don't you think that's your greatest learning? Those are your greatest learning points,
yeah.
though. When you can look back at that and you can be like, oh, wow, this is what I did wrong, or this is what I needed to do differently, or I really didn't apply myself enough, or I could have went this direction with that.
Exactly.
That's when we learn.
Those are the learning curves.
Yeah.
That's the learning curve.
Yeah.
So speaking of learning curves, so you were obviously a presenter, right? And you had to do spokes.
I did like infomercials for them, and then I did print and modeling.
Yes.
So, Kodak, they always think, you think of digital camera, right?
That's what I know.
Right?
Yeah, I know. Yes, exactly.
Hello.
No, that is you. Yes, of course. I'm looking at you like, no, I know this woman. Yes, that
That's
is you.
neat. But you know what?
Wow.
They're much bigger than that because they actually they had products for ingredients for cosmetics.
Mm-hmm.
They made the plastic Coke bottles, like these bottles, but for Coke and Pepsi. So their company is very, very big. So we had a lot of training infomercials that we did and live print. So my contract was really, wide range of things that I did for them.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I mean, obviously there was training that went into that. Did you have to do, voice exercises and besides losing the accent?
Yeah, losing the accent, classes, absolutely. And
I still hear a little Southern in there.
You probably can. Yeah.
Which is nice.
Don't
I
tell
love
Valerie that.
I know, right? It's
So that's awesome.
a hospitable accent.
Thank you.
And
I have a question. So it's for Anicia. And it goes kind of to your last name, Anicia Bragg.
Yes.
One guy said, one friend of mine said, if you're really a star, you don't brag about what you do. You let others do it for you.
True. I think that's true.
And another friend said, so if you don't go out there and yell at the mountaintop of what you do and what you're about, no one's ever gonna know. You are your greatest. You're your greatest PR agent. So I'm like, where do you find the balance without being boastful and arrogant, but still you got to let people know who you are?
Well, I think it depends on the thing. I think if you don't brag to your friends or the people that know you, but I think certainly if you're going in for a job interview or you're going for an audition, you got to bring it. You got to bring it. You got to give them all you got, and you got to, go out there and brag about yourself. You got to talk about your talent.
Right, but in the world where your network is your net worth, your friends are the people that will help you catapult you to your relationships are those people that will get you to or may have a hookup or may have an in on something.
We can't poo-poo those relationships because life is relationship.
Well, see, it's a big difference.
So it's like, okay, my friends are people that,
But I think your friends, see what you do and how you act as a person, and you know what I mean. I don't think they see
sometimes.
Your circle is really important.
Yeah, your circles, and that goes to your circle.
Your circle is important.
And who you really call friends, and what is your definition of a friend?
Very
and
small.
What is your because people have a weird definition of friendship.
There's acquaintances and there's friends.
I think everybody has that definition.
No, because friends, people will say, "Oh, that's not my friend anymore." If it's truly a friend, then that's a friend for life because you understand, what I'm saying? You understand yourself and your ups and downs. You have to understand your friends and their ups and downs. Friendship is unconditional. That's the way I think.
Maybe Facebook killed it. Maybe it wasn't conditional and then Facebook came out and then the ability to unfriend.
No, it's never been unconditional because people always say, "Oh, that's not my friend anymore."
Yeah, I don't think
People been saying that forever before Facebook.
That's why family is
that concept doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
What's
but
the
like
reason? I know, right?
family is blood though. And with family it's like you can't not have a brother, like that's not my brother anymore.
People say that too.
I've never heard anybody say that.
Oh my gosh, what Family Feuds?
I don't talk to my brother anymore, but it's not like that's not my I don't I can't I don't have a time machine. I'm not going to go back.
I've heard it all. And it's like, we're so self-involved but not as self-involved as we should be in terms of knowing ourselves. We have these huge blockers up, which have to do with society and how we're taught from a very young age. This competitiveness, this immediacy, this competition that we're in with everyone else, including ourselves. If you're an only child, you create this huge competition with yourself because there's no one else. Because there's no one else around,
Yeah.
and then you end up fighting yourself if you're not lucky.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, and it's
I'm lucky. I had 7 siblings to fight.
Yeah.
So therefore, I was like cool with myself. I'm not fighting myself. Yeah, I have to fight those people over there, right?
Well, yeah.
I'll take on the 7. I'm not going to make it an 8th person to fight. So I grew up, pretty cool about myself.
That's awesome.
And but you touched on a really, really poignant fact that people, they're self-involved, but they're not really involved with themselves.
Right.
And the shifts in identity and kind of what. It's just so fucked up. It's like people go through these experiences when they're younger, and it's out of their own control, and that kind of makes them who they are. And then at some point, when they figure it out, oh, okay, so this is about what all those experiences culminated into. Okay, this is me now, and nobody's gonna change me. And it's like, Are you
I don't know.
retarded?
We gotta give children some credit. It is in your control. We gotta give them some credit. You know, like
I don't think
like you get things thrown at you, but how you deal with them, how you process it, isn't in your control. Because you can take a person that grew up in the hood, and he got the same thing as the person that strived from coming from the same place.
Well, as you get a little bit older,
it's how you take it.
The control balance shifts. Doesn't all come at once.
I'm talking about from young. I'm talking about
poor me gets you nowhere. If it's like poor me and I had all this and I had all that, that's going nowhere. That's a dead end street. You know what I mean?
Of course.
You just gotta grow up and suck it up.
And I've seen a lot of people even get to a place where it's not even poor me, but they just stay at this level where they're like, okay, like you're talking about from the hood, and then they grow up and they kind of start hustling or whatever, but they stay at a level where it's like, okay, I'm good. I know my world and my experiences, and this is where I'm staying. And it's like, no, you have to explore. You have to go out and try new things and challenge yourself. And those are the experiences that are going to get you,
And also, we just mentioned that earlier. Your network is your net worth. Because I have many friends that I grew up with. I'm from Hartford, Connecticut, so it's riddled with with that. And I have many friends that I personally, said, what though, I'm going to call that person. Get them out and come see me because I know he hasn't been anywhere that I've seen. So I'm going to take. It's the people around. It's the people around you, and also it's the people that those people choose to put. He was Mr. Thugged out, prison. You know what I'm saying? My road is totally different. My life is totally different. But at the same time, he chose me also. It's not like I chose him. I'm in South Africa, and I all of a sudden get an email from my friend when I was little, and I was like, "Wow."
Yeah.
This is always
taking
a person.
a moment, offering friendship.
Yeah, this is always a person that stayed on my mind, but we grew so far apart, and 20 years later, I get an email from him. I'm like, "Wow," and I was like, "You know what though? He reached out, then I reached back." It's got to be.
Yeah, and so it's sometimes really, really important to take that time. And,
I agree.
To kind of see that olive branch and go, okay, cool, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to pull you out.
Because, the matter of fact is, there's, opportunities, I'm like, it doesn't come as quick and as furious for everyone.
Well, and that's why if I have the time, and people message me on Facebook and they ask me for a dating tip here or there, I don't try and sell them on my coaching program. I don't bait them into it. I just take the time and I answer the question. And it's free. Like, here, this is what I'm going to do for you.
I do that too. I'm kind of the go-to girl. Oh my gosh, I get so many.
I'm all about free. I'm all about advice. I'm like.
Me too.
And people always say, "Well, Sid, you got to monetize it." I'm like, I don't know if I have to. I'm like, I can monetize other things. I don't know if that's one thing I need.
Fair enough.
Because I'm like, go forth and spread the word. If you can't, we're all here together. We all have to live together.
Giving somebody a little bit of dating advice versus you coming through my whole program and me actually training you and teaching you.
Don't get me wrong. The work that you have done. People. You put in work and time.
Yeah, but that's what people are paying for. So
exactly, it's paying for your work and time.
Yeah, it's like, hey, look, you want me to stop everything and get on you?
Me, I just kind of grew up with this knowledge, so I'm like, hey, you can have it.
Right.
Yeah, take it. Shot.
This is Modern Male Radio, where we teach guys that are at a disadvantage how to use those to create advantages. And my co-host,
not a disadvantage, a different advantage.
My co-host has been spoiled from life, and I guess so. I'm the only one over here that actually had it like shit from the beginning, and had to work and develop myself. Y'all motherfuckers are just like
in what way? I had to work. Listen, my life's been a roller coaster.
I'm like, no, I've had to work. I've had to work because I grew up in a household of 7 siblings, and it's chaos. I'm like, you're getting hit from all angles, so you learn very quickly how to take hits. That's just that's just my environment. So you learn very quickly how to just take a hit and that wasn't so bad. I can still go on. That was just in my environment that I learned that from.
Yeah.
So it has everything to do with your environment.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I was
how
just
you learn
poking
and what
fun
you
at you
learn.
guys.
Yeah.
I'm sure I actually know both of you guys' stories, and
Yes.
and both of you have had quite a bit of bad luck at certain points of your life.
Totally, man.
Well, I'm like,
sure.
just different luck. I don't like to use I don't put these so-called negative terms in my head. It's just different things. Different things happen, and you react to them differently. And you navigate them differently. If this is a blocker here, you shift and move over here. You find a way through the maze.
Right.
Life is only a maze. You find a way. You don't stop. You don't stop and sit at the wall that's blocking you and just cry.
Right.
Yeah, fair enough. And I mean that's a good mindset to have. So some people's walls have been a little bigger and a little harder to overcome. Because I hear stories all the time about people and where they are and stuff, and it's like, you really do want to move them out of that self-pity thing, but at the same time, you're going, oh wow, I feel for you. Like, that's hard, but this is what the universe gave you to force you to be resourcefaul.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Every time I have a problem or an obstacle, I think back to my ancestors and my forefathers and what type of shit they had they deal with. I'm like, okay, fine. This ain't that big of a deal.
Fair enough.
I'm sorry. Let's keep it going.
That's a very good mindset. What do you think, Anicia?
Well, I think if you stay down, it'll keep you there. You know what I mean?
If you stay down,
you keep thinking all that negative stuff. You're good. That's all you're thinking about. You got to think, okay, what am I going to do to move forward? How am I going to overcome
And Anicia, it's as simple as you just said it. If you stay down, duh,
you're going to be down. You're going to be down.
You're
never. You got to knock that stuff off.
And
you can't be thinking that shit. You gotta move forward. What am I gonna do next? What can I do today? What can I do in this moment to change where I am?
So I got this very interesting story. When I was living in South Africa, about maybe 6 months in, I was coming home from a modeling job. You know what I'm saying? I had crazy fresh shoes. It was New Year's, so these are my New Year's shoes. Right. I was pretty broke. The exchange rate. You know what I'm saying? I was living hand to mouth. So I come home, see a friend, exchange, exchange cordialities. As it hit me when you get back. Right at that moment, a car hits him, blocks him off. Guns come out.
What?
It's a carjacking. So I'm like, literally, I'm at the gate. The gate's open, so I start running, and I have my shoes with me. I'm not putting these shoes down. There's 5 guys chasing me with guns.
He's worried about his shoes in New Year's.
I'm like, I have these shoes, but I'm not gonna go to my place because obviously I'm not going to, let them know where I live. So I go to the back, to the back of the complex so I can hop the wall, and then I have some move to, some
You were thinking fast.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, some room to move. So, just as I hopped the fence, I literally put the shoes up on the fence, hopped the fence, took the shoes off. like if you could just see this, I'm like, what? And then as I took the shoes off, they come around the corner.
What?
So obviously I see that they're driving up real fast, they kind of half cock the doors to hop out. So I look at these shoes, and everything's happening in a blink of an eye. I look at these shoes, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? So I ditched the shoes. So I hop into the next yard, which is just an abandoned lot. And I was like, you know what, though? I'll just keep running. And as I ran, I feel the ground going lower and lower. Because I'm like, I get to the back, hop the fence, I'm good. I hop through some yards.
Whoa.
And when I got to the back of that fence, it was about 50 feet high. Nowhere in God's name to go. And it was about 3 guys now, because 2 of them driving, And I see them coming, It's dark and everything kind of murky. And I see them coming. I'm like, okay, I'm going to end up in this yard dead, and no one's going to know that I am here, because I didn't really have friends like that would, that would, where's Sydney? It's like, I'm kind of on my own thing. So I was like, okay. So I started putting garbage over me, just to hide. And and it was rats back there. They started crawling all over me.
Get out.
But I could not make it. I am petrified of a mouse, more or less a rat. I'm like, but I knew I could not move or make a sound because they would know where I was. And as I'm looking at them come, come closer, I'm like, just stay still. And it's like just creeping all
That's heavy.
And I was like, you better not, or you will end up in this lot. And, say obviously they just carjacked the car, so obviously they couldn't stay long for a while. So I stayed there for about half an hour to make sure that they were gone, broke out, stories. And the thing about it is 5 years later, the lot was still in the same damn condition. I would have still been there. It had not changed, but like no garbage had been picked up, no leaves. It was the same. And I was like, no one would have ever
you were quick to
found
think.
me. I was like, yeah. I was down at one point. I was like, this is it. Whoa. But overdrive kicked it. I'm like, the point of the story is when you think it's the end, it is not. Kick into overdrive, kick into turbo. We all have a turbo boost we all have a turbo boost on our brain.
Right.
Use that. Find out what it is, and you harness it and use it.
Yeah.
Because it will save your life. Literally.
I like that story.
That's
Yeah.
crazy, man. I swear to God, every time I see Sydney, there's something new. This is the first time I'm hearing this.
That's quite a story.
Yeah, dude, that's amazing.
One of many.
Yeah.
I've got a couple as well, but we don't have time for those right now. And Anicia, so this is such an interesting segue to go from that dramatic thing to right into, in the book I reference how you should make your home hospitable to women, and you teach.
Yes. My
Like
God.
most guys don't get that. They have their home, and it's
man.
like you really need to make your environment. If you want to be what is that? I actually wrote this down. If you want to be a lady magnet, you should have a penny dropper pad. Like it's just
You know what I get? Oh, your house is real clean and nice. Oh, you must be homosexual. Right? I'm like, huh? Because
Really? You like your house clean.
yeah, I'm a neat freak. You know, I'm like, I like environments that are clean, neat, and nice. So
Right.
why wouldn't I have that when someone else comes over?
I used to get that. I used to get that all the time, where people would come in and they ask me who my stylist was, my designer.
Yeah, right,
was.
exactly.
Like, who's your interior decorator? And I'm like, I went to the store.
I think I'm the only one that didn't ask it. I was like, because I matched you up with the place. I was like, oh yeah, this is.
Yeah,
When I first
yeah.
met you, I was like, yeah, this is how he is. This,
We
this is what
love
this
that.
is what he would buy. Yeah.
And it's
We
funny
love
because
clean
I've been to
places.
Anicia's house, and it's amazing. By
Thank
the way,
you. Thank you.
It looks like my apartment did if you took it to times 1,000.
That's right.
I cleaned before you came.
It's like the Z Gallery catalog.
Right, of course.
So it's absolutely beautiful.
Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I
Thank
get
you.
messy, but I'm like I always have to regress and clean up before I start my day.
I'm
so.
a girl. I'm a little messy sometimes. I must admit, but I try to keep it clean.
So you give out advice on how to fix your place up. That's what you do. And normally people would feel like that's something for women. For our male listeners out there, I'm sure most of them just kind of, they're almost tuned out. They're like, oh, the interior design stuff's coming on. Click.
But I think it's important. I think it's important for you guys to have a great space that you feel comfortable in. But for a girl, when we walk into your space, we have all these
reflection.
things thinking in our mind.
It's a reflection.
That's who you are, and we're thinking, okay. I really like this guy, but how am I going to spend my future with him and build a life with him? Like we think deep. We're deep, right?
And then a lot of girls.
How am I going to break him of all this like guy stuff and sports stuff and like.
And then you have to fix it. And then you have to fix up girls who actually like going into a domain that is chaotic and messy and say, oh, okay, this is a job. This is a job for me. So you have both sides. You have both sides of the fence.
I think sometimes that one depends on the development level of the girl. There are girls that have really they've done their place up, and they've done themselves up, and they're into
looking for a project. They're looking for a project.
No, but I'm talking about these are the other ones, and their domicile is also very built up. And then there are women who actually would feel challenged by a man who dressed better, and made a better space.
I was a project at one time for a girl.
I don't want
it's
a project.
That they want a guy to be less than them, so they have some sort of dominance in the relationship. They want a
that's
guy
true.
to be bad in that level because their ability to fix him and coach him sets them at a level
Gives
where,
them some type of intrinsic reward.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he's just going to be her. That's just going to be her bitch.
Not necessarily her bitch. He might have his masculine qualities or whatever, but it doesn't make her feel insecure. When he's all done up and she's like, oh, wow, I don't this guy's super metro or whatever, and he's got this dope ass pad, it makes a lot of women feel insecure. And they go, oh, wow, his taste is better than mine. And I've experienced this before. You meet a girl, they're like, okay, so who did your house? And I'm like, I did. And they're like, are you gay? And I'm like, no.
All the time. Yeah, all the time.
And they're like,
I think it goes both ways because, men like.
Oh my God, I have to leave. And
Men-
I'm like, why? And they're like, because I didn't dress well enough to, it's just like, and you immediately see that insecurity. And it's like, oh, wow. Like,
I think it goes both ways because men try to fix women up too,
They do. This
So
is true.
so in the vein of equality, kind of people, you kind of choose. I think what you aren't. So a lot of times people choose what they aren't.
I don't feel like
But
women.
I think a lot of people. Here's what I think.
But if you
about
know yourself, you
relationships.
choose what you are.
Thank you. And that was what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people jump into relationships because of looks 1st, right? They go
Which
for
is
the
always
looks. I want something
yeah.
hot, but they don't stop. And that's
Oh,
why
beauty's
they
in the eye
don't
of the
work.
beholder, so-
True, but I think they don't stop and think about the qualities. What are you really looking for? What's your checklist? What trips your trigger?
Yeah.
What's going to be compatible for you for the
And-
longevity, not the short term.
And when
You
I
know
do
what
date
mean?
coaching for women, that's the first thing right off the bat I ask them. I said, make a list of
Oh,
the
I'm glad we're
qualities
on the
that,
same page on
that
that.
you want in a man.
Yeah.
And make a list of what you want to find and da-da-da. Because women seem to be less decisive. For guys, it's just like, oh, she's hot and she's tolerable. You know, and it's just like, it just goes on like that.
Tolerable, right?
Right.
That's,
Yeah.
even
It's
I'm
like
like, if you
there are
have to
levels
use
of-
if you have to use that word, probably go
But
Yeah.
go the other way.
90% of guys will get into a relationship with a
Oh,
girl
yeah,
who drives
definitely.
him crazy, but she's hot. And it's like, that's it. That's all that really mattered to him. And it'll,
Well, I don't know what women don't drive men crazy, but that's a whole other show.
This is true. But,
Men are
you know, I
from
have a
Mars,
lot of
women are from
guys-
Venus.
Yeah, but I have a lot of guys that are friends. So, I get deep with them and I ask them when we talk about things like, guys, for instance, that are married and have kids and we talk and they're divorced. And then we talk about, well, I didn't stop to ask her what did she think about parenting and what were her ideas and how would she be? And she's a horrible mother. She doesn't want to be a mother. She's a lazy mother. She's not really into like the whole thing with the child. And so it's like, forget about all that. You have to go deep and find out, are you really compatible? And
Right.
go beyond
Why do we take
the
vitamins?
looks
Why do we take vitamins? Why do we take question for you? Why do we take vitamins?
to keep us healthy.
To supplement what we're not getting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, when looking, we have to really look inside of ourselves for what we don't have, what we really need, not what not what we're trying to gain, but what we really need, and supplement that to us. Supplement and complement that to us. So therefore, it is a true bond.
Get a partner that
it's
complements
It's actually
you.
a balance. It's
Yes.
a balance.
Yeah.
Too many people take vitamin C, and they're taking another pill of vitamin C, and that's all they take is vitamin C. You're just pissing that vitamin C out. It's doing no good for you.
That's
Yeah.
And that's how
right.
people take relationships. They're just clamoring on the same shit that they're dealing with. The same problems they have, they get from the other person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm
Right.
like, why would you bring somebody else in your life that has the same problems as you to you? Because you're dealing with you haven't
so
haven't
true.
even dealt with your problems yet. You gonna bring them on?
It's so true.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're running out of time, but
Wow,
for
that was quick.
four
Yeah,
guys,
it goes quick.
it always flies by. But
Flies by
four
when we
guys,
get into it.
they can obviously, if they want to attract women, they want to keep women. Obviously the first place to start is with you, but an added benefit is when you take a girl home, make sure that your domicile is somewhere that she wants to stay at. She feels comfortable, that she feels invited. Sometimes all you have to do is get her to your house, and when she sees it, it reflects on you so much that it wins more points than your mouth could.
Definitely.
And I don't mean that in a dirty way. I mean that in a, what you would say about yourself.
If that's a woman that likes a nice domicile.
So I've never met a girl who went, "Oh my God, your place is too nice. This is the."
Yes.
Really?
Oh no, and I've gotten a, are you straight?
Yeah, I get that.
I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's a lingering question. It's not, no, I'm not. Really? There's always
You
a
love your
really,
space, though. You
it's
care
always
about
a
yourself.
really, yeah, right behind that. Yeah, you're sure you're not.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I've gotten quite a few of those as well. But for guys out there, they can find you. Like, you read a column on this, right?
Yeah.
On everything. I talk
this
about
magazine?
everything. Yes,
Love
Viva
it.
Glam.
Viva Glam magazine.
Viva
so
Glam.
Viva Glam magazine is an online magazine that you
And
can,
newsstands.
And
You can pick it up at the
newsstands,
newsstands.
yeah.
Yeah.
And your column is called what? now?
Living large.
Living large. with
Living
Anicia.
Living large
large.
with Anicia.
Now, do you teach
Anicia
guys,
Bragg.
how to find deals and where to get the newest stuff?
I really, I don't go into that, but I go into
You
the,
should. And you also, I'm like,
Okay, later.
even grooming things. Like, I always have this question. It's like, okay, I'll see something that a woman used, whether it's, moisturizer or something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of the results I'm looking for. Does that work for men too?
Right.
Because they always, they really just don't have a lot of products
Yeah.
for men. And I'm like, well, would that be good for me too? Because I'd like to, the same things they're talking about, the results for women that are getting. I'm like, I like those results too.
I'm
So
always
could-
sharing all the secrets, but that's a good idea.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, start a little
I
man
can
blog.
incorporate that. Yes, for sure.
Help us
Because
guys
those,
out.
Yeah,
those,
I talk about the
those
art
of
of
us that are,
entertaining.
like to keep it tight.
Yeah.
And we keep
A
talking.
lot these days. A
Wait,
lot
this
more.
We keep talking about the idea that, when women walk in and your place is really nice, you sometimes get the "Are you gay?" comment, but for the most part, women go, wow, this guy's put together, and it really impresses them.
Most definitely.
And when they even a guy keeps his house clean, they're just like, oh wow, this is incredible, and that is such.
Well, I take it as a compliment because when I walk
I
into
do
a gay
too.
guy's club, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow, my goodness,
That looks great.
This is fabulous.
Right.
Yo, true story. I mean, that's kind of where I got some of the inspiration. And for our guys out there, educate yourself on the opposite sex. Figure out what her interests are. Reading a magazine like this might seem like, the most pointless thing ever, but this is better than game. You could spend.
There is no game.
Well, yeah, okay, but I'm referencing the pickup artists. The typical definition of game, where guys think that they need to learn all these tricks and pickup lines and and it's like.
So they are his tricks.
You would learn more.
Tricks are for kids.
More from this than you would learn from the book, the game.
100%. Because everything's in there that we like: travel, fashion. My column
If you have to
covers the
trick
wide
somebody into
spectrum.
liking you, well, that says something about where that relationship's going to go.
Right. Well, I think
Exactly.
it's just getting to know
Exactly.
the person.
Yeah.
Getting to know the person.
Exactly.
And is that person, are you really compatible? Are you just going for the look? Are you really compatible?
We are humans. We're supposed to
Well, yeah,
communicate.
yeah.
We're supposed to get to know each other.
Yes.
Like, it's not
Yes.
game. It's just, it's
Yes.
who are you?
But
What is
we're
it
in a
about
hookup
you?
town. Come on, let's admit it. Here we're in a hookup town. Everybody wants casual encounters.
Right, and,
It's a
and,
big
and,
thing.
and,
No,
there's
no,
nothing,
no,
and,
no.
and there's nothing.
A
and
lot
there's
of
no,
people, it's a
but
big-
Everybody
and the thing
has
about it is
casual
that-
encounters.
right.
Not everybody wants casual.
And there's
encounters.
nothing wrong with that either.
A lot of people
I'm not
do.
saying anything's wrong with that.
True.
But still, if you have a casual encounter, I don't want a casual encounter with just anybody.
Right. But if you're looking for a serious
Yeah,
Even if
fair enough.
even if it's casual, I want it to be a certain type.
Right.
So the information I get will dictate.
I didn't think you had a type, Sydney.
Right. But if you're looking
I
for something
do, the type
serious,
that likes
you can't
me.
do the filler stuff because you're wasting time.
What's that?
If you're looking for something more serious,
Yes.
you can't do the filler stuff because time is all we have, and you can't get the time
In the
back.
age of Tinder.
Come on, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and there's definitely a dynamic there because it's like, I know people who speed date on Tinder and they do that, and it's like they go through these people so fast that and there's so many people that they get in this habit of like not actually looking and examining this one person and going, hey, I'm going to get to know them.
Well, though, Tinder Tinder to me is like being in the club. It's the same thing. You
Right.
see, what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's
Fair
a little, and you could process it a little bit more because you're swiping. In the club, I always had this funny thing about it. I'm like, too many beautiful women in the club. It's gonna be a bad night for me because I can't focus, and I'm gonna end up alone.
But
I'm
you
gonna
know
end up
what?
alone at the end of the night. It's too many.
But this is what happens. So you're on Tinder, right? You see all these hot girls. You're liking, and then you're meeting them, and you see them, and they're like really beautiful, and you're like, yeah, I kind of vibe this chick. I really like her. But then you might really have something there, but
That's
but
called
people
thinking
don't
with the
stop.
other head.
Yeah, people don't stop and say, okay, you know what? Time out. I really do like this person. They have everything I want. I'm not going to go back. I'm going to take a break from Tinder. I'm going to take a break from all these other dating sites.
They keep it going.
And I'm going to give
And
it
that
an
is, let me tell you something. That is unbelievable that you bring that up because one of the episodes on my TV show, my Bravo TV show, Friends to Lover, is exactly about that.
Really? Yeah.
Exactly about that. So I really, when that instance happened, because it happened out of the blue, I was like, I wonder what side people are going to be on. Because there were two polar opposite sides, with me and the female, how we viewed it. And I was like, I want to know what people's take on it is.
I personally think that if you find someone that you really, really like, that you should take a break and spend the time to get to know that person and give them a chance. Because, hey, let's face it, it's going to be so easy to look and find someone else that you think's attractive and make yourself question, maybe. The grass always looks greener.
On the
but if
other
you keep
side.
on checking out the grass on the other
Yeah.
side, where are you
You're gonna
going?
be hot- you're gonna be hopping
gonna
from grass to grass,
You're going to be like
'cause-
all over the place, And that online dating stuff, come on, we all know it is work. That's a job
very-
and
yeah.
a job. That's
It's hard.
a job.
It's hard, yeah.
But when you meet that person that kind of takes your breath away and you got that like thing going on, I think you should.
I don't
explore it.
encourage
Take a
online dating.
break.
I think that if you
I'm
do
not
online
either.
date, you should get to a meeting as fast as possible. And I mean, I'm really not. I think it's
Different strokes are different because everyone has different personalities.
Well, as a
female,
I think it's
some type
dangerous.
personality type that actually
it's
works.
becoming a social crutch.
I'm more of an interactive
guys
person.
are learning.
Too
guys,
easy.
I don't like talking on the phone too long.
Well, I'm just gonna tell you
I like
guys-
being in person.
Guys are atrophying their approach skills and their ability to actually.
Oh,
talk
that
to-
just
yeah.
goes with our society.
Yeah,
We're atrophying everything. We're atrophying our brains by being on the internet too much. Everything.
Yo, fair enough.
We're not exercising any of our internal.
I've been on the
muscles,
computer a
our
lot. I'm
brain-
getting a little
our brain
slower.
capacity,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
So we actually have to wrap up here very, very shortly. But you touched on something interesting, because next week, guess what? We're going to have a show, and we're going to have your partner from the show.
My partner from the show, Jen
so-
Mosley, is going to be on next week. So we're going to be
Yeah,
it's gonna
so-
be- well, I guess you're going to be interviewing both of us.
Yes, I
and
am.
Partly I'm going to
Fine.
be interviewing myself. I don't know.
So Sydney's show comes out Monday the 12th.
Premieres Monday the 12th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. West Coast time on Bravo Network. Friends to Lovers, friends with the number 2, hashtag friends with the number 2 in the middle, lovers. Check it out and
I can't
see
wait.
what these different groups of these different pairs of people, and check out their journey, which try to answer the age-old question: can friends be lovers?
And we're gonna have that. We're gonna have follow-up shows here, and we're gonna have the guests on, and we're gonna follow Sydney through his process.
So at Bravo
love
TV,
it.
hashtag friends to lovers, Sydney Hall, and just check it out.
You'll figure it out.
Tweet
And-
about it, love it or hate it. Tweet about it, talk about it, because
Yeah,
because
yeah,
a lot
we
of
always wanna hear
interesting
from you guys.
issues in terms of relationships, dating that come up that are very poignant to our society and where we're at.
Yeah, and
in
if
our
you guys
culture
can't
right
wait,
now.
there are sneak previews up on bravotv.com.
Yeah.
Anicia,
Yes.
what are you working on right now? What would you like to promote? Where can people find you?
They can find me at vivaglammagazine.com,
Bam.
and they can check
Okay.
out my new show, which is Living Large with Anicia.
Boom.
Red carpet of celebrity guest on there. We're sharing
Bow.
all the good Hollywood secrets with you guys, and check me out. www.vivaglammagazine.com.
And you're both invited to the premiere on Monday.
Thank you.
Wait, is there a premiere party?
Premiere party.
Where is that?
At the Pump in West Hollywood, the Vanderpump's restaurant in West Hollywood.
Sweet.
Word. Okay.
Love to.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right
We'll
on.
see you
So I'll
there.
get you guys invites.
Cool, guys. And as always, you can find us at methodologyofthemodernmale.com/radio. You can find us at The Modern Male Movement on Facebook, Twitter at Male Methodology, and Instagram at Methodology of the Modern Male. That's all for tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in to Modern Male Radio.
Until next time, keep the evolution on.
Thanks.
You're listening to Modern Male Radio with Jerod Zavistoski and Sydney Hall, right here on LA Talk Radio.